If you want to become fluent in English, there are a few things that can truly make a difference. These are things that, when done consistently, will get you closer to speaking confidently, understanding native speakers, and feeling comfortable in any situation where you need to use English. I'm not going to tell you a complicated secret or a shortcut. I'm just going to share with you the things that, in my experience, really work. So, here we go. First things first, don't overthink it. A lot of people make the mistake of thinking they need to be perfect in English right away, but that's just not true. Perfection isn't the goal here. The goal is communication, and in order to communicate effectively, you have to practice. And guess what? You don't need to be perfect to communicate well. So don't put pressure on yourself to know everything. Just focus on improving little by little every day. Set realistic goals for yourself. If you're serious about becoming fluent, set a goal for what you want to achieve in the next month or two. Maybe you want to be able to hold a 10-minute conversation in English without stopping to translate words in your head. Or maybe you want to understand an entire TV show without subtitles. Whatever it is, set a goal and break it down into smaller, achievable steps. These goals will keep you motivated and focused. Speaking of motivation, it's important to stay motivated over time. Learning a language is a long journey. Some days you'll feel amazing, like you're making huge strides, and other days it'll feel like you're stuck. When you hit those tough days, and trust me, you will, remind yourself of why you started. Think about how awesome it will feel when you can speak with ease or understand your favorite TV shows and movies without needing subtitles. Write down your goals and put them somewhere you'll see them every day. This will keep your motivation strong, even when things get difficult. Immerse yourself in English as much as possible. This doesn't mean you have to move to an English-speaking country, though that would help. But it does mean that you should surround yourself with the language as much as you can. Change the language on your phone, listen to English podcasts, watch English YouTube videos, read articles and books in English. The more you hear and see the language, the more it will feel natural to you. Your brain will start to recognize patterns, and you'll begin to pick up new vocabulary and grammar structures without even trying. A great way to immerse yourself is by listening to content that interests you. If you love sports, listen to podcasts about sports in English. And if you're into technology, watch tech reviews in English. If you're into comedy, find English comedy shows or stand-up specials. When you enjoy what you're listening to, it becomes easier to learn and it won't feel like studying at all. You're learning through something you already enjoy, which makes the process much more fun and effective. Practice speaking every day. Now, this is crucial. If you want to get fluent, you have to practice speaking as much as possible. But if you're like me, speaking can be intimidating. You're worried about making mistakes or sounding silly, right? I totally understand that. But guess what? You have to make mistakes in order to improve. It's part of the learning process. Start by speaking to yourself in English. Even if there's no one around, you can practice by talking to yourself. Describe your day, talk about what you're doing, or narrate your thoughts in English. It may feel strange at first, but it will help you get comfortable with speaking and thinking in English. Another great way to practice speaking is by finding a language partner or a tutor. Even if you only have a few minutes a day to practice, speaking with someone else will help you get used to real-life conversations. You don't need to wait until you're perfect to start speaking. The more you practice, the more confident you'll become. And soon, you'll find that speaking in English becomes second nature to you. Expand your vocabulary. Learning new words is an essential part of becoming fluent. The more words you know, the easier it will be to express yourself. But don't just memorize lists of words from a textbook. Instead, try to learn words in context. When you hear a word in a sentence or see it in an article or a conversation, you're more likely to remember it. Try using apps, flashcards, or vocabulary lists that focus on real-life conversational English. Focus on learning the words and phrases that you're likely to use every day. Learning useful phrases like, "How's it going?" or "What's up?" will help you sound more like a native speaker and less like someone reading from a textbook. Practice your listening skills. Being fluent doesn't just mean being able to speak well. You also need to understand what others are saying. That's why listening is so important. If you're constantly focusing on speaking, but not working on listening, you'll always struggle to follow conversations. Make sure you're dedicating time to listen to English every day. There are lots of ways to practice listening. You can listen to podcasts, audiobooks, TV shows, movies, or even YouTube videos. When you listen, try not to rely on subtitles too much, because this will slow down your listening skills. Instead, challenge yourself to understand without reading the words on the screen. Start with simpler content, and then move on to more complex material as you get better. Read, and read some more. Reading is another great way to build your vocabulary and improve your grammar. Plus, it will help you become familiar with how English sentences are structured. Start with books or articles that match your current level, and then work your way up. If you're a beginner, you can find short stories or children's books in English that are easier to understand. As you progress, challenge yourself with more complex texts like novels or news articles. The great thing about reading is that you can do it anywhere, on the bus, in the waiting room, before bed, or even while you're having a coffee break. Reading just 10 to 15 minutes a day can really add up over time. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. I know this is something a lot of learners struggle with. We all hate making mistakes, especially in front of others. But guess what? Mistakes are how we learn. Every mistake is a lesson. When you make a mistake, you'll remember it, and the next time you'll do better. I remember when I was learning English, I was afraid to speak because I didn't want to make any mistakes. But eventually, I realized that every time I made a mistake, I learned something new. I wasn't afraid anymore. I just focused on using the language, even if it meant saying things wrong at first. And over time, those mistakes became less and less frequent. Stay patient and enjoy the journey. Learning a language is a long process, and it won't happen overnight. But don't worry, that's okay. The key is to stay consistent. If you practice every day, even just a little bit, you'll see improvement. Don't get discouraged by slow progress. Every little bit counts, and soon, you'll look back and realize just how far you've come. You know, one of the biggest challenges in learning English, or any language really, is staying motivated. It's easy to feel frustrated when you don't see results immediately. But I promise you, the key is consistency. Small steps every day will add up, and over time, you will see huge improvements. The journey isn't always going to be easy, and there will be bumps along the way, but that's just part of the process. The most important thing is to keep showing up, even if it's just 10 minutes a day. Consistency beats intensity. I remember days when I felt like I wasn't progressing at all. I would think, I've been learning for months and I still can't speak fluently. But then I would look back and realize how much I'd improved. There's a saying, you can't see the progress you're making while you're in it. But when you step back and reflect, you'll notice how far you've come. So don't get discouraged. Just keep going. Patience is key, and it's often something that people don't talk about enough. In our world of instant gratification, where everything happens at the push of a button, we expect fast results. But language learning isn't like that. It's a gradual process, and it takes time. You'll have moments where it feels like you're not improving, but trust me, you are. When you stay patient and stick with it, your brain is constantly absorbing and processing new information, even if it doesn't feel like it. Track your progress. Sometimes it can be hard to see the changes you're making on a daily basis. But if you look at where you were a month ago or 3 months ago, you'll notice that you've learned so much. I recommend keeping a journal or a language learning log. Write down the new words you've learned, the books or articles you've read, or even the conversations you've had in English. Looking back at your progress will motivate you to keep going and remind you of just how far you've come. When I was learning English, I would look back at old journal entries or think about the conversations I had months earlier. It was amazing to see how much more confident I had become in speaking and understanding the language. It's a great feeling to realize how much you've grown. Another thing that really helped me was to embrace mistakes. Now, I know it sounds simple, but in the beginning, it's hard to accept that mistakes are part of the learning process. We all hate making mistakes, especially when speaking in front of others. But let me tell you something. Mistakes are essential. They help you learn. Without mistakes, you can't improve. Every time you make a mistake, you're learning. So guys, subscribe,